Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I am Zawadi, your host for the evening and co-founder of Disruptor DAO. If this is your first time joining us, please let us know where you're joining us from. Just pop it in the chat. We thank and welcome everybody who's here tonight. We do have an exciting presentation. So I'm just going to go right into it. Our housekeeping. Do mute your mics to avoid background noise. Openly participate in the discussion and be respectful of others' opinions and questions. The last 10 minutes are dedicated to Q&A as always, and post your questions and comments in the chat as we go through our presentation. This session is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice or an endorsement of any product, service, or opinion. To protect the integrity and confidentiality of participants, we ask that you not share personal stories, experiences, or information discussed by participants in this session. All of Disruptor DAO sessions are recorded and they are shared on our LLC social media platforms. By participating or viewing a recording, you agree not to infringe on any intellectual property or materials associated with Disruptor LLC and its counterparts. Unauthorized sharing, facilitation, or replication of the content presented here is strictly prohibited. A little bit about Disruptor DAO. Our mission is to accelerate wealth building opportunities by strengthening mindsets and advancing education and investment in disruptive technology. Mindset. So, Disruptor DAO has produced a number of products, including our mindset cards, and we have them available so that every day we pull a card and it leads us to journaling or just checking in to see where our mindset is for that day. And tonight's card is, I am a trailblazer. I am a trailblazer in the deepest footsteps. So just think about that for a moment. All right, you are here to hear about how you can help your children get through college and how you can keep your sanity in the process. Our guest this evening, Jasmine Cole. Jasmine is debt-free and determined. She graduated with a degree in psychology. She's now guiding students toward clarity, confidence, and financial independence throughout their academic journeys. She is the author of Financial Liberation After College, 10 Lessons You Can Utilize to Graduate College Debt-Free. She is a multi-industry experienced person. She brings a rich background across academia, healthcare, tech, and finance with hands-on roles in business development, event moderation, and dentistry. We know Jasmine from her time with Journey to Wealth. She has led initiatives teaching women the essentials of wealth building and investment for lasting financial security. She is a dynamic communicator. Jasmine is known for simplifying complex topics through engaging workshops, impactful keynotes, and interactive student events. And she is a strategic student mentor, helping students to enhance their soft skills and explore alternative career paths and build debt-free academic foundations. So without further ado, we're bringing Jasmine Cole to the stage. Come on, Jasmine.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Zawadi. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I'm hoping that you're looking forward to a great educational seminar. Briefly, I'm gonna go over the 7 first strategies that you can utilize to graduate college debt-free, and then I'll really go into detail for the last 3. So determining the ROI of your degree program and future salary is very important. I'm actually gonna go over that in detail as far as outlining a formula that you can utilize. Proactively search for scholarships and grants. I know the team is going to drop some links in the chat, but I can't stress this enough. According to Forbes, at least $100 million worth of scholarships go not claimed because students' parents are just not being proactive enough to really seek out the assistance that's needed. Finding which financial vehicle is best to fund your education is crucial. We're going to go over different types of vehicles that you may find best to help fund your child's education. The importance of taking college classes in high school. I personally took some college classes, and I definitely want to make sure that parents and students are, just taking the initiative to understand the importance of, taking whether it's AP classes, IB classes, as many credits that you can accumulate while in high school, so that way you could seamlessly transfer those over into your undergrad. It will definitely make a difference in not having to pay for that once in college. Assessing in-state versus out-of-state tuition differences, that's something that I definitely took advantage of. Just realizing that I can save so much money staying in New York State, as opposed to going out of state and paying, maybe double or even triple the tuition. We can go on to the next slide. So I work primarily with New York State students and also parents. So I'm going to focus on tonight the New York Excelsior, CUNY ASAP, and ACE programs. These programs are actually created to help students and parents not have to pay out of their pocket for tuition costs. Some of them also go into paying for other costs that are associated with college, whether it's transportation, books, or maybe even room and boarding. But primarily these programs are set up so that way they won't have to pay for tuition, which is very important. Utilizing resident assistant room and board opportunities is crucial too if your child is looking to stay on campus. I personally was fortunate enough to live at home while going to college, so I didn't have to worry about room and board costs. So, just make sure that when you consider the cost of college, it's holistic. It's not just tuition, right? And utilizing resident assistant programs are crucial as well. They usually are offered like sophomore, junior, and senior years. Cost-effective ways to save on textbooks. I can't stress this enough as well. These books add up. You could wind up spending anywhere from a couple $100 to $1,000 per semester on the textbooks. I strongly urge students and parents to look into, more frugal ways of maybe having a used textbook. You could look online for that textbook version or even in your school library. Look into work study programs. This is something that I utilized as well. I worked as a librarian student aide, and it just helped cover mainly like my discretionary costs, right? Not so much tuition. I was able to utilize scholarships, grants, and then work retail jobs outside of my college studies to help fund my tuition. So any sort of monies that you can put together will help. And then, of course, research internships, fellowships, and study abroad programs. I really took advantage of the fellowship program that was offered while in my undergrad, and it helped fund my undergrad, and also allowed me to dive deeper into research as well, which I had an extraordinary time. Okay, we can go on to the next slide.
And as I advance to the next slide, let me just tell our audience, I need you to pay attention. There will be a raffle at the end of the presentation, so don't wander away from your screen tonight. Thank you.
All right, so determining the ROI of your degree program and future salary. So I just want to make this known that this is actually a blueprint. I can't begin to tell you how many students go into college not really understanding this concept, because a lot of students, they don't have an idea as to what they want to actually major in, and then they come out of college with all of this debt. So first, I will say, understand what career you want to get into and make sure you're very certain, right? You want to research the career, you want to research where you intend to have your career. The region also makes a difference, right? With that being said, you want to use this formula, right? So the formula is projected lifetime earnings, the difference between the projected lifetime earnings and total college costs, divided by the total college costs multiplied by 100, right? So in the next slide, I'm actually going to give you an example of what that would look like. So we go on to the next slide. All right, so for example, say you have a projected lifetime earnings of $800,000, right? And then the total college cost equals out to $80,000. You would then take the difference of $800,000 from $80,000, right? And then divide that by $80,000, multiply that by 100, and then you would get an overall percentage ROI of 900%. So you're probably wondering, well, what does that really mean? The next slide, I'm actually going to go over the different rubric that pretty much gauges where you want to look at your percentage and how you want to go forth with your education. So we can go on to the next slide. So here you can see we have the different percentages, right? So mind you, when I say return on investment, I'm speaking in terms of dollars, percentages, right? You may consider return on investment something that you just are very passionate about. No matter how much money you are going to make coming out of that with that degree program, you're still going to consider it a high return on investment. But in this context, I'm speaking on return in terms of percentage and also dollars, right? So anything below 100% when you do your calculation, it would be considered a poor investment. You'll barely recover your costs. Anything from 100 to 200% is a modest return, might be acceptable in passion fields. The arts, social work, and like I said, if you have a passion for, going to school for that and you know for a fact you want to, by all means, I'm just giving you the numbers, right? Anything from 300% to 400% is good to excellent return and strong financial choice. And then anything 500% plus is considered an outstanding return, top value degrees such as engineering, tech, and nursing. Right. So in the previous example, it was a 900% plus ROI. So like I said, you want to make sure that number one, that the career choice that you want to get into, first off, that your career absolutely needs a degree program, and then also determine whether or not which region you're going to be practicing your professional endeavors. All right. So this is very important. So we can go on to the next slide. All right, so finding the best financial vehicle to fund your education. I personally, I wish I would have had this. I did not. It would have been great to have going into college, because then maybe I wouldn't have had to like stress out, figure out, how to graduate college debt free. But if you are planning for your child, I'd say start as early as possible. These are some of the actual plans that you can look into, and you could actually go to, research different financial brokerage to see which ones are offered for you the best, for your best terms. Like they vary state to state, so it's best to look into a brokerage firm to see which works best for your financial situation. I personally, disclaimer, I should have said this before, I'm not a financial advisor, but I know these are vehicles that families use to help fund their students' education. So the first one that you see on the screen is called the 529 plan, and this offers a tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals as long as you use the money for approved educational costs, right? So next we have the Coverdell Education Savings Account, and it's best for parents who want to pay for K through 12 and college with more investment flexibility. And then we have the UGMA, the UTMA custodial accounts, and they're good for saving for a child's future, not just education. The next slides are pretty much going to detail the differences between the three. We can go over to the next slide in a chart. All right. So as you can see, for the different vehicles you have for the 529 plan, I'm just going to go over the two first rows, right? So for the primary purpose for a 529 plan, you can save for educational expenses. For the Coverdell, is saving for educational expenses, and then the UGMA or UTMA, the custodial account, you can save for minors, future education, housing, and anything, right? So like I said, look at going to college, paying for it holistically. It's not just tuition. You have books, you have transportation, possibly you have room and board, right? Those are the main things that you have to think about, right? And of course, any sort of discretionary expenses. So you want to make sure that you're choosing the vehicle that's best for your child. And then you have contribution limits, right? Very high, varies by state, often anywhere from 300K to 500K for the 529 plan. And I believe that's overall, right? So that's the most that you can actually contribute for a 529 plan. Like I said, just make sure you do your due diligence and look into your specific state 529 plan. And then for the Coverdell ESA, you had 2,000 per year per child. And then for the UGMA, UTMA custodial account, no official limit, right? Large gifts may trigger gift taxes. That's something you have to speak with the actual brokerage account to determine which works best for you. And you have tax advantages and eligible expenses. I'm going to drop some links if they weren't already dropped, and basically it'll give you more detail into looking into these specific vehicles just to see which works out best for funding your child's education. We can go on to the next slide. All right, so we have here income limits, right? So for the 529, there is no income limit. For the Coverdell ESA, yes, high earners may not qualify. What determines you to become a high earner? That's something you would have to find out when you actually do your research for that specific vehicle. And then for the UTMA custodial account, there is none as far as for income limits. And then investment control limited to plan selected options. Broad can choose most stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and then full control for the UTMA custodian managers, right? So I highly recommend you want to be as proactive as possible in trying to fund your child's education, look into these vehicles ASAP, and feel like you'll be definitely put in a position that you could, help supplement whatever costs that are needed to go to college. All right, move on to the next slide. All right. So, like I stated before, I work primarily in the state of New York State, working with students and parents. And this program literally came out right after I graduated college. Had I would have known prior, I would have had a much less stressful time in college, right? So, with the New York Excelsior Scholarship, as a New York State program that allows eligible students to attend a SUNY and or CUNY University College tuition free, right? So any state wide college program or a citywide college program in New York. And I'll go over different eligibility requirements. We're also going to drop some links in the chat and you can do more research. For those who are not based in New York State, you may have similar programs within your state. So I highly recommend to do your own research to see if there are any programs in the same vein that'll help fund your child's education, as long as you meet those guidelines and requirements. We can go over to the next slide. All right, so for eligibility, I'm just gonna go over briefly. You must be a New York State resident for 12 months prior to applying to a SUNY or CUNY college, earn $125,000 annually, right, as a household income or less, and enroll in at least 12 credits per term, right? So this is very important. I feel like a lot of students and parents, even if they look into this program, they may not really understand the conditions, right? So it's really important that if you do decide to go into these programs, to make sure that you follow each and every condition and guideline. So that way, you don't wind up having to pay, the tuition back as a loan if they find out that you're not meeting every single guideline, right? So for the award amount, it covers tuition only, right? So for the Excelsior program, like I said, tuition only, you would have to figure out how you'd pay for the other costs, such as room and board, books. But it's good to know that it at least covers that aspect of your college education, right? Application requirements, submitting the FAFSA, submitting the TAP, and whatnot. And then program obligations, maintain full-time enrollment and academic progress. I know a lot of students, they go into college, sometimes they may go part-time, because maybe they're working and they can't, commit to a full-time schedule because they're trying to fund their education. Just making sure that, if you are to go through one of these New York State programs, that you would have to be a full-time enrollee in order to have that scholarship available. And once again, covered costs are just tuition, not room and board, not books, and any other fees. All right, move on to the next slide. Okay, so pros and cons, once again, provides free or nearly free tuition, only covers tuition. Pro, big college is more accessible for middle income families. Post graduation is a requirement for residency, must stay in New York. I forget the time period exactly, but you could look more into how many years you have to stay in New York post graduation. Otherwise, you will have to pay that back. Encourages on-time graduation as a pro, right? So making sure that the student is full-time as opposed to part-time. So that way they graduate on time. And then as a con, strict full-time enrollment and credit completion requirements. So you don't have that schedule flexibility. So you have to determine what works best for you as a student, as a parent. As another pro, work alongside federal and state grants to maximize aid. And then as a con, household income must stay under the limit through college years. Okay, go over to the next slide. And then this is just resources that I was able to gather while doing the presentation. Then move on to the next slide. Yep, we can go on to the next slide.
One moment, for some reason, we seem to have stopped sharing. Give me one moment to get that back.
No worries.
As we wait a moment while she shares, Ms. Coles, this is a wonderful, wonderful presentation. And I just wanted to also highlight, it was a discussion you and I were having in terms of also other possibilities and scholarships, right? I think sometimes we overlook our local businesses and civic groups and even employers that give that have offerings and scholarship offerings. There's also hobbies. We
Yep,
can have if you're into arts, music, theater. If there's also those non-academic scholarships, just essay contest, art contest, that are also available. So small scholarships that we think are small, you grab a few of those, and it's pretty good sizable monies there for your tuition.
absolutely, absolutely right. Like, don't overlook any sort of hobbies or extracurricular activities that a student may be, interested or actually engaged in, because you could actually use that, like you said before, to search for scholarships, uh, you know, that are outside of academics, athletics, anything's in that vein, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even foundations that are in your area. I'm a board member of the Roberto Clemente Foundation, and they're just preparing their scholarship nominations. To review their nominations and give those awards out. So yeah, definitely looking at your neighborhood foundations
All
and
right,
foundations of interest, aligned interest.
perfect, perfect. So we actually have a raffle tonight. All right. So for the raffle winners, you'll be receiving a copy of my book, Financial Liberation After Graduation: 10 Life Lessons You Can Utilize to Graduate College Debt Free. And basically, this is my personal blueprint that I use to graduate college debt free. It talks a lot about mindset. It talks a lot about just my whole both professional and academic journey, and just understanding just different life lessons in general, right? So what we're going to do is I have some questions. That's why Zawai had made it very clear in the beginning of the presentation to make sure that you're listening carefully. I will have some questions, and what I will ask is for each of the three questions, there will be three raffle winners. The first one to put the correct answer according to each question in the chat will receive one of my books. All right. So, first question, according to the ROI formula given in the presentation, which percentage would be considered a low or below ROI for your degree program and for potential earnings? Oh, looks like Stacey got it first. Stacey got it first, so she will be one of the raffle winners. Okay, so
Woohoo!
congratulations, Stacey. All right. So using that same ROI formula, which percentage would be considered an outstanding percentage for your ROI? Yep, it looks like Tisha got it. Tisha T, excellent. And then for the last question, name the program that I mentioned as far as the New York State. Name one of the New York State programs that I mentioned in the presentation that helps alleviate the burden of paying for college. Nope, it's not 529. It's a specific name that I used during the presentation. Yes, looks like Tisha. Oh, Tisha getting two books because she did.
Actually, if she's already won one, we're gonna give
Okay,
some
okay,
less.
all right. So who else? Who else can I name one of the? Who can be the next? That's
Actually,
it.
Andrew wrote Eliza. Did you mean Excelsior? If so, you might have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Okay. So yes, looks like Angie's a third winner. All right. So we have our three winners for tonight. And for those who did not win a book, I'm actually giving the opportunity for those who would like to purchase my book on Amazon. It is available on Amazon. For the first five who purchase my book and leave a review, a positive review, I'm giving the opportunity to have a 30-minute consultation with me for me to help you devise a plan to help your student graduate college debt free. So we're actually going to drop the link in the chat as far as the Amazon link for the book. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, Dr. Eve, I'm not sure if you email the audience members afterwards, but I'm going to drop my email in the chat, and they will have to then just let me know that they bought it and received, or rather gave a review. And then the first 5 who I receive that confirmation from, they will receive a free 30-minute consultation with me. So let me just drop that in the chat.
Wonderful. And also for the winners today, if you could direct message either Sawadi or Dr. Eve in this chat with your name and number.
And I'd like to encourage everybody to go back through the chat. Jasmine provided us with a lot of links, so you feel free to take photos of those links. So Jasmine, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been fabulous. I want to kick off the questions. For the New York State Excelsior, no, for the New York State program, is there an age limit? Like, is there a cutoff at 30 or 40 that you know of?
To
Or
my
no?
understanding, Zawadi, that you would have to just be enrolled into. You don't have to be a specific age to be able to actually avail yourself to this resource.
Okay, and then based on what I saw on the screen, you've got to take 30 credits a year. So that means if you're not doing 15 credits each semester, you're going to have
Right,
to go to summer school.
right. So that's a big thing too. They're very big on being full time, right?
Mhm.
So making sure that you create those 30 credits for yourself on annually for the educational year in order to maintain that status.
Great. I'll just take a second to scroll through the chat. I did ask for people to drop where they're from. We've got Texas. I saw Kansas City, Queens, Brooklyn, Harlem. Let's see. We have a question here. How do I start? And how do I find a brokerage or a broker? Shall I assume that we're talking about the 529 plan?
Hi everyone. This is so great, by the way. I learned so much. My son is 2 years old, and so I'm definitely thinking about this since he was born. But I think overall, I think you mentioned like speaking to like a broker or brokerage who can give you more information with your overall financial
Yeah.
status. Like, this is so much information. It's like at the tip of your hands, but it's like, where do I start? Right? Like this is the first time in my family that someone's gonna do this. So it's like, where do I start? That'd be
No,
great. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So, like I was saying before, there's different brokerages that you can consider. I personally, I'm not a financial advisor. I wouldn't say that I have an affinity towards one over the other, but there's different brokerages like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, things in that vein. So, I would say look at the different brokerages, speak with the representative with each brokerage, and just figure out which one works best for you. And just consider, the whole holistic cost of what it would take to contribute what you want to contribute for that specific vehicle.
And
Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, perfect. Good.
with relationship to the 529 programs, they're offered at many employers. So check also your employer, your HR department, because they become quite commonplace now, and they offer a lot more benefits than they used to before. All right. Any other questions?
Please make sure that you check out that chat. There's a lot of fabulous links in there that you might want to make a copy of and save. She dropped some wonderful gems there for everyone.
And I see a comment. The formula is a new tool that I will add to my college toolbox. I learned so much. And we've got congratulations and thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Absolutely.
We'll give you a few minutes to think. You may have some other questions. I'll just move on to the next slide.
Okay.
All right. What's coming up next for Disruptor DAO? As you know, we meet every Wednesday. Our series is Wellness Wednesday, where we bring you a host of topics based on wealth, wellness, health, mindset. So next week, we're going to continue talking about our youth. We're raising money smart kids. The wealth legacy starts at home. We continue with passive paydays, monetizing your clicks and your opinions. We'll learn how to make some money utilizing YouTube. On the 21st, Tech on a Budget. Transform your teaching with free tools. Once again, that's for the youth and also for the adults. And if you happen to be a teacher instructor, it's for you too. We'll have a host of AI tools that you can build your toolbox with. And then the finale. Our finale of season 3 is Beyond the Panic, the future of finance. I don't have to say a whole lot about what's happening right now, but people are concerned, worried, even scared about their money, about the economy, about what's going to happen next and what's around the corner. So we say stay with us for some tips on what to do concerning your money and just in general. For those of you who don't know, we do take a break in the summer. We may host one program, but we will come back to you in September. So stay with us. We hope to see you again next week. Now, we've got merch. I mentioned merch before. We've got an affirmation and mindset journal that can pair with the cards. You can use the journal to write your daily mindset ramblings, I guess is the word I want to use. No, but what's going on in your brain? What do you need to get out of your head and onto paper? Got a journal for that. And like I said, our mindset deck, mindset and affirmation deck. Did show you a sample earlier. We have about 40 cards in our deck. Some are prompts and then some relate to mindset. And it's a great deck for yourself to give as gifts so people can just check in. And lastly, join our community. We've got a Telegram chat group. We allow people to drop links for what they're doing if they have a business, things going on in the community, in the world of finance, in the world of blockchain or cryptocurrency. Please, you can take out your phone and scan the QR code, or you can utilize our link below, bit.ly/Disruptor Tribe. And we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and follow us. And it's youtube.com and @DisruptorDAO. So before we close out for the evening, I'll just check the chat one more time to see if there are any other questions. We've got some gratitudes and thank yous. And then our links for all of our social media platforms are also in the chat. So any comments from anybody? Dr. Eve?
No, thank you so much, Ms. Coles. And again, congratulations to all our winners.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me tonight. Thank you so much.